What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's trade recap. Today is January the 16th, another green day in the markets. Basically a break-even trade, but I thought today was a very good lesson in what we can kind of learn just based off the overall context of the markets. The setup was absolutely fantastic. I love the setup on Nvidia, but ultimately the context wasn't the greatest with the QQQ and SMH. So we'll kind of talk about the thought process, the scaling, and and how I really managed the trade. But before we do that, this is my P&L calendar. I'll actually have a more in-depth trade review this weekend for you guys, breaking down my week and month so far. But all green for this week, absolutely fantastic. Ended up making 1.4K today. I consider this more of a break-even trade for me personally, but up around $27,000. Last week, $25,000. So this month, up over $52,000 on the month so far. So really solid way to start off January. I've only taken 9 trades. Actually, we do have a holiday coming up on the 19th, a market holiday for Martin Luther King Day. So it is going to be a market holiday. The markets are closed. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday. With that being said, let's go into the trade that we took this morning. This was on Nvidia. I ended up making $1,300, as you can see. What was the overall thought process on this trade? So right here, as you can see, let's actually go on to the higher time frame. So coming into market open here, really the QQQ. Let me actually just go on to the 15-minute time frame. Let me go over the thought process coming into market open. So coming into market open here, we have a little bit of a gap up overnight. Let me actually just remove a couple of these levels here. So for the Qs, we reclaimed back above at 624. So coming to market open, I had a bullish stance as long as you can maintain above that 624. If we break underneath 624, we can see the market flip back down in towards that previous day lows. For the SPY, my key level here was your 694 in the pre-market prep. If we can break above, we can see continuation. If we reject off this level, potentially we can see this push down in towards that previous day lows. So that was my game plan coming to market open. As for Nvidia, I was potentially interested in this previous day high retest for this push back towards the upside. I was a little bit cautious just because we still are technically inside of this range, but very clear level here for me. Equilibrium back in this consolidation. If we can break above, potentially you can see a move up in towards this 193. Other things that I was looking for coming into today, let me just pull up my pre-market prep so you guys can see. So let's go on to this. As you can see here, some of the things that we're looking for coming into market open, QQQ 624, SPY 694. I mentioned I like some semiconductors for continuation, Nvidia, AMD above key levels, MU, SNDK also look good above previous day highs as well. So the reason why this was the case, I already explained it. QQQ above kind of that 624. SMH was still fairly bullish in my mind. You can see higher time frames look super solid. Break, kind of have this retest. Now we're looking for this continuation above your previous day highs. So semiconductors have been leading the market higher. So coming into market open, as you can see right off the bat, semiconductors popping above your previous day highs. So as long as you can maintain above your 5-minute range high, also at other key levels, I'm looking for continuation on the semiconductors. So for Nvidia, as you can see, first kind of 5 to 10 minutes, breaking above your previous day highs. Now we're looking for that previous day high retest for continuation. If you go into the lower time frames, as you can see, consolidation right underneath your previous day highs, nice break. We have a nice displacement here coming back to retest our previous day highs perfectly. Get in. Stop just a break below, looking for that push up and towards that 193. And let me talk about the scaling and the overall thought process. Number one, I'm already sized down because it's a Friday coming into a long weekend. I already had such a good week, so I'm not willing to risk that much profit. So size down, it's a Friday today, so I usually am more aggressive in my scaling approach. So you can see previous day highs hit. Some buyers stepped in, entered in some of the 190 calls, looking for high of day and above. So right here, right off the bat, you can see how fast price actually hit high of day. The contracts moved nicely, about 30 cents right off our key level. I actually was not able to take any off. My plan was to take some off, but it happened so quick. So I ended up staying in the trade for a little bit. We ended up defending your previous day highs once again. And then I took some more scales as it approached your previous day highs. Sorry, as it approached your high of day, took some more scales off. So I basically took off 80%. And I'll tell you why during this case. And then I end up cutting the rest 20% on this candle. So that's where I get that $1,400, a very small green day for me. I basically consider this a very small green break even. And let me tell you why I ended up scaling more aggressively up into towards this high day. Plus, I end up cutting the trailers fairly quickly is because of the overall context. So any other day, I really like the setup. It's a Friday, so we have to be cautious of that. The market and really no clear direction. But Nvidia, really for me, textbook previous day high break and retest for continuation higher. But right, what was the context looking at the exact same time here on the QQQ? If you go into the QQQ chart, right? As I talked about earlier, 624 was my key level, but you can see it's kind of breaking below your pre-market lows, breaking underneath the 624. So really no buyer stepped in. You had this initial buyer step in here, but you can see 5-minute range low held and the market stayed heavy. And you can see we're underneath the 624.20s. So that's why we had this nice push down on the QQQ. At the exact same time, SMH, the key level that I had here was your previous day highs. And it was also your 5-minute range high that I marked out that I wanted to see hold for a continuation. If markets can hold this level, we can see really the semiconductors move higher. If we break underneath this 5-minute range high in this kind of 402, we can see some more continuation lower on the semiconductors. So that's why I was a little bit cautious here on Nvidia, and that's why I scaled. You can see once it broke underneath key levels, really the market just ended up gravitating down in towards that previous day lows and that previous day close. We'll kind of talk about the live session. I think right here it's easiest to explain with the live session and what my thought process was. As I mentioned, I wasn't really planning on doing this trade recap since it was a break even, but I thought this was kind of good to just show you guys context wise and the overall thought process and what I was looking for coming to market open. Let's pull up the live session here. So coming into today, as I mentioned, I was kind of explaining the overall thesis. MU actually, I actually forgot to talk about MU. MU was one of our main watches for the game plan for that break. It was actually our 353 bounce happened within that first candle, was not able to get MU, but these contracts moved nice. The previous day high reclaim or the retest off this would have been super solid for a pushback towards the upside. The contracts moved nicely on this ticker. But let's go into the live session and see what I was talking about here. So let's kind of speed up the tape. Kind of talked about MU a little bit. So Nvidia, I was keeping an eye on a couple tickers. MU right here. Nvidia, I was also keeping an eye on your previous day highs. And as you can see right here, during this exact moment, Qs is kind of just ranging. Nvidia is breaking towards upside. So you can see why I was looking at the previous day high retest. Let's kind of speed it up. So as you can see right here, Nvidia is coming back down in towards our previous day highs. Qs, what I like to see is a bounce off 624 for that continuation higher. So as we keep playing out the tape, right, we're waiting for buyers to be present here off your previous day highs. Qs is coming back down, but as long as Nvidia can show some buyers to step in. And as you can see, let me kind of just rewind it here, but you can see the buyers start stepping in nicely here off your previous day highs, and now we're flipping back above this candle. So for Nvidia, right, you could be looking for a previous day high retest, very tight stop, looking for high of day plus continuation. Let's kind of keep playing this out. So Nvidia, as you can see right here, at this very moment, this in my opinion looks really solid, right? Obviously, we're on the 1-minute time frame, but you can see Qs bouncing off the 624, Nvidia bouncing super nicely off your previous day highs. This majority of the time has continuation above your previous day highs and above. But you can see how quick it was. I wanted to scale here at your previous day highs, but I think it was a little bit distracting. I actually missed this first scale, which would have been super solid up and towards your, basically, you can see it only happened for like 5-10 seconds, but this scale right here would have been super solid. The contracts moved nicely, but 30-40% on 0-day contracts. But I wanted to see a little bit more just based off the context, and I actually ended up rejecting this level a little bit. As we keep playing it up, keep playing it out. QQQ still staying heavy, right? Nvidia still maintaining above that previous day highs. You can see a lot of buyers stepped in here, so still maintaining. I still wanted to see the QQQ hold at 624. But you can see buyers stepping in here on Nvidia. Keep playing it out. But you can see every single pop is now kind of being shorted, right? QQQ looks fairly weak. No buyers really stepping in off this 624. SMH, it looks a little bit toppy here as well. If it breaks underneath, we can see a reversal here in the markets. And then Nvidia, you can see touch here, multiple touches off Hive day. So I was a little bit more aggressive in my scaling just because of the overall context. And as we keep playing it out, you can see QQQ's breaking underneath. So that's really not giving me too much conviction that markets want to move higher. And then right here, you can see at this exact time, Nvidia is making a new Hive day, but Qs is now underneath our pre-market lows, underneath key levels. SMH at a very key inflection point here as well. So Nvidia, very key for me. I'm taking profits, and you can see rejection here on QQQ, rejection here on SMH. And that was really my sign that most likely now Nvidia is going to reverse because Qs is very weak. SMH is now flipping here as well. So we want to be very cautious. And then I only had about 20% left. And then I just instantly cut it, right? No weakness, SMH breaking underneath, Qs, no buyer stepping in whatsoever. Cut my position on Nvidia, ended up being a small green trade for that. And then that was about it. There's a potential another trading opportunity later into the session. I kind of outlined it for anyone that was trading the QQQ. It was your reclaim back underneath this 1 minute order block, looking for continuation down in towards low of day and below. But this is kind of the overall thesis, right? Potential kind of rejection, looking for low of day plus your previous day lows. And this actually ended up playing out nicely. I personally didn't take it. Because it was later into the session. I was already green for the day. I wanted to end off the week green coming into long weekend here as well. But I know a couple of people took this QQQ one, kind of outlined this one very nicely, and we end up dropping, yeah, right down in towards that previous day lows. So that is it for today. Nothing flashy, but good for the overall kind of thought process and what I was looking for. And yeah, that's about it. I'm going to have a YouTube video, full beginner's guide, coming out this weekend on Sunday. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'll also have a full breakdown of my week here on my second channel. I'll talk about more of the thought process, everything else. And besides that, hope you guys enjoyed that. If you do have any questions, of course, drop them in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.